Welcome class back to Chapter 9, Collecting Data with Forms. This video is going to cover our third objective or our third lesson, work with form objects. So a form provides a structure in which you can place your form objects, and those form objects can be called form elements, form controls, form inputs, or form fields. Just know that they're all referring to the same thing. So they can be checkboxes, text boxes, radio buttons, check boxes, selection lists, and the list can go on from there. You can use form objects in any combination. Just make sure it's a logical combination to collect the information you need. So here is an example. We have a few text fields. We have a text area field, so that's the larger box. And then you have your menu list, or what we call a selection list. And then here's a security challenge, and then submit button as well. So text fields are the most common type of form object, and they're used for collecting a string of characters, such as a name, an address, a password, or an email. Text area field is a text field that can store several lines of text. I often refer to them as the comment box. You can use checkboxes to create a list of options from which a user can make multiple selections. A group of checkboxes is called a checkbox group. Radio buttons provides a list of options, but only one selection can be made, and a group of radio buttons is called a radio group. Each radio group you create allows, again, only one selection. You can insert a menu or a list using a select tag, and we'll do that through the insert panel. You use menus when you want a user to select a single option from a list, and you use lists when you want the user to be able to select more than one option from the list. Hidden fields make it possible to provide information to that processing script that might be on the server, but really the user didn't need to know or maybe give that information to you. You can insert an image field into a form using the image field button. So we can insert an image field to create buttons that will create custom graphics. You can also allow your users to upload files through a file field. And lastly, not lastly, but we have some buttons. So submit button in order to submit the information from our form. And also, if the user needs to clear the form, we can provide a reset button. So let's go ahead and practice these pages. So we've got about 11 pages to go through, and I want you to pay great attention to the modifications that I am going to make. So this is how you want to style your form when it comes to coffee shop. Okay, or structure your form. Okay, so let's go ahead and skip step number 1. Okay, so I'm going to skip number 1, and I'm actually going to jump right into number 2. And then we're going to be moving some labels around in our code view, and I will take this really slow. So in my second column, okay, in my second column, in my second row, I'm going to go ahead and put a text box in. So I'm going to click on text, and what happens is that the label is right next to it. So eventually we're going to remove the label all the way over here, but we need to keep it connected to the text box, and that's why I'm modifying the steps here. So I'm going to take text field out, and I'm going to type in that first name label that was specified in number 1. Okay, then I'm going to click on the input box, okay, to get it selected so I can use my properties inspector. The name of the field is first underscore name. The size, how big the box will be displayed, will be 40, and the max number of characters that they can type in that box is 100. Okay, so that's how we're going to do that. Okay, now you're going to just go ahead and repeat that step. So text, and then we're going to do last name label. Click on the box again, and we're going to set up the same properties, excluding, of course, the name is going to be modified accordingly. So this is going to be 40, and this is going to be 100. Okay, so now we have another one. So now we're going to go ahead and do a third one, and this one is going to be email. So text field, we'll put in email, size 40, max length 100. Okay. Now you'll notice that, since we're doing it this way in one area, that things don't line up nicely. And that's the, big plus of using a table to lay out. So I'm going to keep everything in this column, and then I'm going to do the moving all at one time to the first column, okay? So moving of the labels. So the next thing we're going to do is do the comment. So coming over from the comment label, we're going to do a text area. So a little further down in your list, a little bit past midway, you're going to click on text area. And then the text area here, you're going to do comments again. And I know that we typed it already, but we're going to move it. We're going to delete one of them. So the rows here are 4, so 4 rows in height, and our columns is going to be 40. And of course, this needs to be named comments. Okay, so just keeping everything in that rightmost column for now. We're already on page 22, where we're going to be doing some checkboxes. Okay, so this is coming across from I am interested in information about. So under the email, we are going to do a checkbox group. Okay, so checkbox group, and that group name is brochures. And then the label that's going to appear next to the checkbox is what we're going to place here. So this is phishing, and the value is always going to be lowercase. This is actually what's going to be sent to the processing script. Okay, so we usually just do all lowercase when it comes to programming. And then this one is going to say cruises, and then this will be lowercase cruises. We're going to keep it as line breaks, meaning we're going to stack these, and we're not going to use a table to lay it out. So we're going to go ahead and click on OK, and we have phishing and we have cruises. Okay, coming to page 24, we are going to do a radio group. So I would like to receive your newsletters. That's going to be either a yes or no. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do a radio group button, and that radio group is going to be named newsletters. Appropriate, right? So we'll come in the radio here, and this is going to be the label, which will be yes. And they want to send the value as long as positive. Now I might just change that and do yes or no, but we'll keep it consistent with the book. So negative. So keeping line breaks, so we're going to be stacking them. Okay, so yes or no. If your alignment is off in any way, check your code to see if there's extra paragraph tags that you'll need to remove. Okay, we're going to add a selection or a menu. So I learned about you from, and we're going to go to the select. So click on select, and then from here you're going to give it a name of reference. Okay, and there's no size. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do list values, and those list values are going to be, and you can kind of see them on figure 26. So let's go ahead and get there. I'm going to jump ahead a few pages here. Okay, so figure 26. So select from a list, none, from a friend, and so on. So select from a list, and this would be none. If you just do your tab, that'll take you to the next label and value. From a friend, Amy, friend. Okay, and friend. So those are the 5 that we want to appear. Okay, so we'll go ahead and click on OK. Okay, and then we are going to remove the label. Okay, or no, I'm going to pause on that. Oh, we're going to add a class to this. So click on your select from list and add the class of intro paragraph. And that's just to format the text that is inside of that to be the same text that we're using. And we are going to skip page, the next page, which is insert a hidden field. Okay. We are then going to add submit buttons. So the last part is page 29, or not the last part of this section is page 29. So I'm going to change the order of these buttons, and then we're going to clean this form up because it doesn't look exactly the way it needs to be. So we are going to insert a reset button first. Okay, so reset button, and then the next one is going to be a submit button. Now they have them in the opposite order. Now the reason I switch them is because generally what users do is they'll click on the rightmost button, and we don't want them to accidentally reset the form. So we want to just make sure that you do the reset button first and then the submit button second. Okay, so let's clean this form up and get everything that needs to be in the correct positioning. So I'm going to close these two panels out and go to code view. Actually, I'm going to go to split view so I can use both here. Drag this down a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to click on this label here. So the cell that is adjacent, so to the left, is where the label needs to be. So this NBSP is going to be pasted over with the label. So you're going to take the label and you're going to cut it and paste it over top. Okay, now when I click over here, I have my label. Okay, and so then you can move this up if you want to, or you can just leave it as. And so you'll just keep doing the process. So cutting the label, pasting over top. Same thing with the email. Okay, so now we have those. And let's go ahead and look at the selection one. Okay, so this one says label for reference select. I'm going to take this I learned about you from. I'm going to cut that and I'm going to paste it over select. Okay, and then I'm going to take the label tag and I'm going to place it in that first cell. Okay, so I'll come back up here. There we are. Same thing with comments. I'm going to click on comments. Okay, and this right here. Okay, I'm going to show you the difference right here between the two. So here this just says label. It doesn't tell you what the label is for. Which field does this label actually belong to? So when we created the object over here, it automatically corresponded what we needed it to correspond to, what field we were working with. Here, this doesn't even mention which one it's connected to. This is important right here for accessibility, to know which does this go to. So when the screen reader is coming through, it's going to say comments, and it's going to be connected to this input type of box. Okay, so that's the reason that I went through and did the process this way. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste over top of this. Come up here, and now we have comments over here, and again we have the accessibility because we have this for linking it to the appropriate field object here, or form object. Okay, so that's exactly how I want you to process Coffee Shop. Okay, make sure that you sketch it out on paper first. Okay, and then maybe use your rightmost column to go ahead and create all of your objects, and then go ahead and move them over into the first column, but yet so they're still connected. So like first name, label for first name, it's connected to this input box. Very important for accessibility. If you have any questions or you get stuck on that process when you're working with Coffee Shop, please let me know. Thank you.